Obviously, it all goes back to Nikola Tesla, but other energy inventors, Dmitry Petronov, Stefan Marinov, Stanley Meyer, the GEC Marconi scientists. There was over 25 of them that died in really suspect ways. They're working on a black budget. I'll get into them in a second. Eugene Mavlov, Ari Dege, Tom Ogle, and the Ogle-mobile. Look that one up. Nuno Lorio, Carl Grilmar are the last list of names that have been added to the list in 2026. That's the MIT fusion scientist, the Caltech astrophysicist. And I'll get into the modern disappearances and deaths of people linked to the UFO, the secret UFO program. And this is what's been going on in late 2025 and 2026. There's been like 10 plus disappearances in the UFO program, and it seems to me like it's almost the story of the decade, and it's a very scary story. Some other digital freedom fighters and crypto kings that died in super mysterious ways: Nikolai Mushegian, John McAfee, Fernando Alagaba, and I'll get into that chain in detail. Some people who were killed, they're related to the JFK case in one way or another: George de Morenchild, Marilyn Monroe, and Mary Meyer. Some UFO and alien related deaths. We got Carl Wolf and John Mack. Some other miscellaneous deaths that seemed like there was higher powers in play: Stanley Kubrick, Frank Olson is related to MK Ultra, Mark Middleton related to the Clintons and probably Epstein, and then William Colby, one of the only moral CIA directors of all time. He released the family jewels. He released the most transparency into the CIA we have ever seen in the history of our country. And he went for a canoe ride and, never came back. Some other consciousness pioneers that died in weird ways. We got Itzhak Bentov and Pat Price. And then lastly, some Manchurian candidates, which is, the government essentially training and mind washing, mind controlling certain people to carry out assassinations, political assassinations. And there is now documented declassified evidence that Tim McVeigh, Ciaran, Jack Ruby, and Lee Harvey Oswald were all, Manchurian candidates operating under MK Ultra mind control techniques, and kind of Jolly West and Sidney Gottlieb, like I mentioned before, were the people who pioneered this mind control type of technology and techniques. So I'm going to spend this episode trying to naturally interweave as many of these names into some of the following big time topics. And I'm going to give a quick primer at the end of this podcast episode going through each of these people I just named, who I didn't get the chance to get to naturally throughout the course of this episode. And, I'll give a few sentences on their death and kind of the broader implications of why people think there's a conspiracy in play. So yeah, that's the intro for this episode. And now we're going to get into the three, arguably the three most important threads of all time. First up, we got the free energy suppression thread. Then we're going to get into the central banking and federal control system thread. And then lastly, we're going to get into the Epstein files and show you just how far that rabbit hole goes.